What is up, everybody? This is Keith Jamison. I go by Gator Guy 231 across the DFS industry, and I am so pumped to kick off FSI's NFL coverage for the 2021 season with the preview of the Buccaneers, Super Bowl champion Buccaneers, my home team here in Tampa Bay, hosting the Dallas Cowboys. I was going to try to make a joke about Hard Knocks' own Dallas Cowboys, but I didn't watch enough of it to have any good takes on it. Just that my favorite player, the guy on the cover, the favorite player on this slate, I should say, I think it's just going to have a great season. And he was kind of the star of Hard Knocks, and that's CeeDee Lamb. So we'll get into that in a minute. Just kind of want to give you a quick preview of what to expect on this FSI channel this year. So first off, you're going to subscribe to this channel, like and comment. Those really do help us. But myself, TK Nation, and Zach, aka Keats, will be previewing the 3 featured showdowns of every week this season. We're not going to be doing a classic. There's phenomenal content out there, but there is definitely a hole or a lack of showdown coverage that we want to provide. So we'll have Thursday night football every single week. We will have Sunday night football and Monday night football on this channel. So make sure you subscribe so you get to that. Additionally, Additionally, we're going to have our favorite Prizepicks play for the board when we record this. So tonight, it's Tuesday night. I think there'll still be some updates to the board, but I have a Prizepicks play that I want to share. And we'll kick off with that. Just a quick reminder with Prizepicks. Phenomenal site. So many sports, so many different ways to enjoy the action on top of your DFS lineups. Use promo code FSI. You'll get 100% match up to $100. So that's $100 of free play credits. And realistically, I think there's some awesome plays to maybe take advantage of on this slate alone. So as you can see, and I'll kind of go over this more with the DFS coverage, but I already mentioned CeeDee Lamb, one of my favorite plays. I think at 5 receptions, it's really soft. I personally think he's going to be in that 7 to 8 range, especially with Dallas being from behind, especially with Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup being shadowed by 2 elite corners, and CeeDee Lamb getting the much, much softer matchup in the slot versus Sean Murphy bunting. Additionally, for Dak Prescott to stay alive versus awesome pass rush of the Buccaneers without Zach Martin, without Collins on the left, because that's to get the ball out quick. So that's low 8-out targets. That's out of the slot. I think CeeDee Lamb is just a phenomenal play, and at 5 receptions, he's way low. Now, Ronald Jones, I'm not going to go talk about him much on the showdown preview because I just don't like any of the Buccaneers running backs. Like, it is a true 3-man committee this season. We're going to have Ronald Jones probably on first or second down. Leonard Fournette, who was the hero of the playoffs in a lot of ways, getting in there as well. And then Gio Bernard, former Bengal fame, was signed in the offseason to be 3rd down back. He's playing every 3rd down situation. Now, I'm sure, 3rd and short, where it is a rundown, that will be Jones or Fournette. But we're seriously talking about a guy like Ronald Jones having, maybe 1 play per set of downs. And that's just not huge production. Additionally, in the final 5 games of the season, so when Leonard Fournette really started elevating his game, that was without Gio Bernard, okay? Ronald Jones had 1 catch, 1 the whole time, not per game, 1 catch. So I think there's some really good unders here. Ronald Jones under 1 catch, or under 5.5 receiving yards. I think under 5.5 receiving yards even maybe gives you a little bit more cushion, because if Ronald Jones, does get that catch, but for 2 or 3 yards, you still have a win. So I really struggle to see Ronald Jones being involved in the passing game outside of just Brady panic dumping it down to him. But I think if Ronald Jones is in, that's going to be a key towards a run play. So yeah, I really like both these Ronald Jones under props. You could do under 1 or under 1.5. I think for the sake of it, I kind of talked myself into under 5.5 yards. Great part about Prizepicks is 3 to 1 on every bet. So you don't have to win every one to be profitable. 1 out of every 2, and you're getting a good profit. So I love that. CeeDee Lamb over 5 catches, Ronald Jones under 5.5 yards. That is my play. Let's get into the DraftKings showdown. Again, reminder, like, subscribe, comment if you're still here. Hopefully you're loving the content. Let's jump right into it. So I think I'm going to be approaching this a lot from an optimal lens. So cash games, I want to cash in GPP, not necessarily win. But, make a profit. Head-to-heads, cash games, that's where I really think that, you can cut your teeth in showdowns. If you're going to be doing a lot of GPP, you really got to be thinking of the opposite. I'm going to talk about it at the very end. So let's go from an optimal lens. And I think for most people, clicking Tom Brady and Dak Prescott's in a game, actually, I should mention the odds. We have the Bucks are an 8-point favorite. We have a big total, 52 total. So there's going to be some points here, probably a lot from the Bucks end, but that means the quarterbacks are very much in play, especially I'm trying to think of the best way to do this. I guess the overview on the Bucks. The Bucks are a really hard DFS team because they have so many pass catchers and everybody's back, right? And then we even said running backs, there's 3 of them. So top target is Mike Evans. Chris Godwin, you could argue, is going to lead the team in targets. And then you have Antonio Brown, who's going to command a big amount of targets too. You have Gronk, who I think, I'm not going to talk much about Gronk because I really do think the Bucks are going to manage Gronk all season long as OJ Howard is healthy. Really trying to save Gronk for the playoffs. OJ Howard's, missed most of the last season. Really, really talented pass catcher. And they also have Cam Brate. So the Bucks have 3 legitimate tight ends. And then you have third down back Gio Bernard. So they really can spread it out a ton. So it makes it hard. It's not like, Devontae Adams for the Packers where where the targets are going. So it's really, really tough to pinpoint the Bucks wide receivers. For Dallas, I think you could make a similar argument that they have 3 top receiving targets. Just the difference is we know that Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup are going to draw much, much tougher matchups on the outside versus Bucks' top 2 corners. Sean Murphy-Bunting in the slot was a wreck at times last year. So I think CeeDee Lamb becomes a core play because of that. And we also know left tackle Collins and blanking on his name, Zach Martin are both out. So the Cowboys offensive line is going to struggle. So Dak Prescott's going to be doing a lot of short throws. So again, that eliminates a lot of the outside targets, condenses them short, dump offs to the backs, dump offs to tight ends. Dallas is going to be splitting time on their tight ends. And I really think that CeeDee Lamb is the guy to exploit here. I can see CeeDee Lamb being an excellent spend down. I'm going to put that in quotes. 8,200 isn't exactly like super cheap, but versus spending 10, 4, 11, 2 at the captain spot to give you a lot more flexibility. I really do like that. All right. So Tom Brady, Dak Prescott. I don't think there's much to say about Brady. Brady is Brady. Hard to see him going out of the touchdown here. And again, rather than trying to pick all of his targets, you can just get Tom Brady. Maybe he's, live for the 300-yard bonus. I saw in Prizepick, I think his yard prop was like 298. So that's high. So, they're very much thinking that the Bucks are going to be passing early on versus a Dallas defense that is very vulnerable through the air. I think a lot of people, Dak Prescott is going to be a decision point. Obviously, he's coming back off of the big injury. Look, if you go with like the most logical game flow, right? Bucks go up early. That's what the books think. They're the defending champ. It's Thursday night. It's a home game, all that stuff. Dallas is going to be throwing. And additionally, Dallas could struggle to run the ball. You got Vita Vea. You got Sue. You've got, oh my goodness, I'm blanking on Devin White. Jeez, I was blanking on Levante David. All of these stud players in the middle. The Bucks even, you've got Winfield coming down the box sometimes to overload it when, Dallas tips their hands as to run. So I think Zeke is going to struggle. And again, Zach Martin, one of the better run blockers in the league, not there. So I think Dallas is going to find a lot of problems here. And I think it's a negative game flow for the run game. So very much positive game flow for the passing game. And you just don't see routes to Zeke. So I think Zeke for me is a fade. So if I'm not going to spend up for Zeke and I don't have running backs to spend up for the Bucks, and like I said, the Bucks targets are all over the place, well, then I'm going to have enough salary for Tom Brady and Dak Prescott. So that's likely how I'm going to go. Talked about Zeke. Mike Evans, I think, is the Bucks, most logical touchdown target in the red zone. I think at 9,200, a lot of people are going to gravitate towards Godwin for a $600 discount or all the way down. I expect Antonio Brown, as long as he's healthy, 5,600 to be very, very popular. He has very similar catch props to both Evans and Godwin. And additionally, Antonio Brown got to the team late last season. We know Tom Brady loves him back to even bringing him into New England. So I think Antonio Brown is going to be one of the more popular plays in the mid-tier, very close to a core play for me. I just like CeeDee Lamb a little bit more. But Mike Evans, great spend up. Maybe you get lower ownership on both him over both Godwin and Brown. So that's interesting. Amari Cooper may go really low owned at 200 less than Chris Godwin. I think most people are going to be gravitating towards pairing a receiver with Brady. Look, I just talked about the game flow, right? Dallas being behind. It's not an easy matchup, but we know Cooper from a talent perspective is up there in one of the more elite tiers of wide receivers. He struggled at times having Dalton and DiNucci and those guys throwing to him, but it's a bet on talent. I think Amari Cooper and, realistically, if the Bucs are up, 21-7, 14-0 at half, anything a little, 21-7 I think is more likely than 14-0, but Dallas is going to air it out. And that's going to be more targets for Cooper. And just a bet on targets is always good in DFS. Michael Gallup, 6,200, much cheaper version of what I just said for Cooper. I think all the Bucs running backs at the top, Fournette and Jones, are no-goes for me. I do like, if I scroll down here, I like Gio Bernard a ton for the showdown slate because of the price. Both he and OJ Howard, I think, are really interesting. But we know Tom Brady likes his third down backs. He made a career for James White in New England. Gio Bernard is very, very similar to James White. He is out there to catch the ball. He's getting up there in age, but what he's going to lack in elusiveness, he makes up for experience and with hands. And I think Tom Brady's going to quite like Gio Bernard. So at 2,000, I think he makes a ton of sense. Scotty Miller, YOLO GPP at 1,600 makes sense too. Just a couple other plays just to highlight in the mid tier. Definitely Brown over Gronkowski. Dallas is likely going to be splitting time at tight end, so Jarwin and Schultz to me are both out of play. Bucks D is fine from a correlation aspect. I don't think you go there in cash unless, but again, if you get like a pick six or a couple sacks / interceptions, they can make a ton of sense. Jones, I mentioned, I'm off, but for me, Jones is greater than Fournette due to the price. And then finally, kickers, suck up, I think, is fine. If you're there, cash, just getting points is good. So, if you got the Bucs 3 to 4 touchdowns, that's 3 to 4 points for suck up. One field goal, you're at 7, and you're beating half the field or half the other guys of what they could output realistically just with those field goals. All right, let's quickly just talk strategy on GPPs, especially this big field, $1 million, all that. Doing a buck stack with Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin, none of that is going to win you $1 million. Everybody, that's the first inclination. That's the first lineup everybody's making. So I would argue, and it's very, very not, it's not going to be the greatest advice ever, right? Because more than likely this is going to be a last place lineup. But if everybody is doing one thing and it's a top heavy GPP, you should probably just do the exact opposite. So the most common, game script people are going to build, right? Dallas is going to fall down, meaning, you play like Dak, Cooper, Lamb, and then you run it back with Brady, whoever he throws for a touchdown, maybe a running back, maybe Bucks D, but more going Bucks than Cowboys. So the exact opposite. Cowboys get up early, they pound the rock. So, you're looking at a Zeke captain. Zeke's a fade for me in cash, right? But in GPP, maybe Zeke goes under owned. People are worried about Vita Vea. They're worried about Sue. They're worried about Devin White. They're worried about this awesome run defense for the Bucs that, read any preview, the Bucs were number 1 versus running backs. So throwing a guy like Zeke at your captain is going to be very low owned for an elite talent. And maybe even putting Zeke with Tony Pollard. Yes, that doesn't make a ton of sense in terms of, hey, if you want Zeke to explode, then Tony Pollard doesn't need to do anything. But what if Zeke gets 2 touchdowns and Tony Pollard gets a dump off, swing pass for 1 as well? Nobody's going to be doing that type of strategy, so Zeke, Dak, CeeDee Lamb, something like that. I don't think is going to be a super high owned stack, especially with one of them as a captain play, and then running it back with the Bucs passing game. Maybe that's a way to be a little bit more contrarian, or maybe even the better plays, just a naked Zeke, right? Naked Zeke at captain, running it back with the Bucs pass catchers. Don't think that that's going to be something a lot of people do, especially if the Bucs are behind. Gio Bernard being in for almost every passing down, I think makes a lot of sense. And again, at 2,000 for Gio Bernard, he's one of probably my favorite value play. Just doesn't take much for him to get there. So really do like him. All right. I think I kind of got everything out that I have to say about the slate. Should be fun. When I first, said this was going to be the one I was going to cover, I was like, oh man, got to cover the Bucks, try to figure it all out. But I think the more I played around with it, the more I thought about, game script. I think it's gonna be a fun slate. I think it makes a ton of sense. So get your quarterbacks, CeeDee Lamb, really like Antonio Brown as kind of a fourth captain. Look at your value, and you should be off and building from there. Can get some fun builds. And then for GPP, just don't be afraid to get weird. So thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get notifications when the next Showdown videos are out. Also at FSI, we have so many sports up. We have baseball up daily. We have soccer up. You can find me on Mayo Media Network and on this channel doing EPL coverage. Just college football. I'll have Thursday's preview up tomorrow night, and then a preview for Saturday's main slate on Friday. Tons of free stuff on this channel. Really hope to have you guys on board. And finally, I'll save the sales till the end. Get you all the good stuff at the beginning. But if you are interested in becoming an FSS subscriber, get you access to our player rankings, where we give you, the top plays in the slate. They're good for, cash, optimal, GPP, as well as core plays for all the classic slates on both FanDuel and DK, and then all the showdowns on DK. Make sure you check out the site and the subscription options. We would love to have you on board as a customer. Thank you all so much for watching. Once again, this is Keith Jamison, aka Gator Guy 231. See you.